Do you guys remember when vampires used to be scary? When they used to be cool? When they used to be the talk of the town in Hollywood and cinema in general? Something happened after that. They got neutered badly, to the point where they become teddy bears, in what I call the vampire teddy bear era of cinema. Now don't get me wrong, nowadays you do have movies like Nosferatu and Sinners that are making vampires scary again. I'll grant you that. But something has changed, because it's still hard to get a lot of people to love vampires in movies as much as they used to. Vampires used to be terrifying, man. They used to be the stuff of literal nightmares. But you know what? I'm not only going to say that they were just monsters. Vampires have always been sexy. They had a romantic, gothic romance undertone to them. There's nothing wrong with that necessarily. I mean, hell, my favorite vampire female character is Celine. She's so hot. She's so beautifully sexy hot. But there's a difference between sexy badassery and scariness. There's a difference between that and turning them into fucking little bitches, which is what has happened. We have gone from badass vampire galore, monsters of your worst nightmares, or badass soldiers of fortune, to a guy who sparkles and gives away his daughter, a baby, to get fucked by a werewolf. That's what happened in Twilight. A literal dog imprinted on your child and you let it go because you wanted to bang a human. Like, what the fuck? This is what vampire cinema's turned to, and this started a whole genre of how cute these vampires are. Look, we want to see love triangles and romance and all this bullshit. I want to address the devolving of vampires in cinema, the utter neutering of them. Basically, what happened to Hulk when he first came in the Incredible Hulk movie in the MCU to what he's become now. I want to address that, but it's happened to vampires. Okay, what are vampires? Can we ask ourselves this? Vampires are parasites. They are parasitic worms, blights of nature, demonic in nature. Some would say, if they're not of the devil in certain lore, magically, they're a virus that's going to eradicate humanity. That's what they are. Somehow cinema forgot this and decided to turn them into lovey-dovey teenage romance bullshit. We're going to go through all the eras of vampires and see what happened, the transformation of them from chads of darkness to sparkly little bitches. Alright? The classic era. This is when Dracula was the thing. There were so many Dracula movies between the 30s to the 70s. And hell, there's a lot of Dracula movies even now. He's an iconic character. This is a time where German Expressionism and Gothic romance was the thing. It was the thing. Freaking Nosferatu movie was about German Expressionism and a journey into the occult. These are things that were being explored a lot. It wasn't just, wouldn't it be so cute to see that vampire with that girl who looks cute? Wouldn't it be so fun to see them struggle in a relationship together and have relationship issues beside the locker room, besides after her gym class, because this guy's 1,000 years old and he's obsessed with a 13, 14-year-old for some reason? This era put an emphasis on eerie visuals, gothic romance, and a Victorian horror aesthetic. What happened? Besides Robert Eggers, who did it with Nosferatu, where are we seeing that? It's gone. Everything's bright now. Colorful. Ooh, this was it. Look how much Dracula was being made back then. The guy who played fucking Saruman. Now we're entering into the villain era, where, okay, we're going straight up villain. We're gonna make vampire horror films, actually. Fright Night. Hey, what's your next door neighbor up to? He might be a vampire trying to kill everybody. That's a scary film right there, alright? This brother gave me nightmares as a kid. The reboot was pretty... I like the reboot too, to be honest, with Colin Farrell, my boy. The Lost Boys. Okay. Vampires can be villainous, but they can be cool. They can be the kind of character you would want to be. That emo, goth, punk, biker aesthetic. Like, they were associated with coolness and rebellion. The rebellious nature of kids in the 80s. That's what this film was all about. The Lost Boys is fucking awesome. Kiefer Sutherland acted his ass off in this. Not to mention, he had so much aura. She's so fine, too. What happened? What happened? Hell, man, Salem's Lot. I know, Stephen King story, but still, whatever. A master vampire who's about to take over the entire town and turn them all into vampires. Scary, scary stuff. I'm telling you, when vampires are at their best, in my opinion, they're embracing their villainy. We're not trying to turn them into little dogs, little poodle bitches. And that's not to say we're not making them complex, because they are going to be complex. The Night Flyer, a serial killer vampire, flying around murdering people left and right, brutally. And we have a couple of investigators, journalists trying to find him. That's awesome. That's scary. Now we're entering the tragic villain era, where they're still villains, But we're going to make them so complex and layered. We're going to make them human. We're going to make them tragic, but they're still of the devil. This is going to be about the tragedy of this curse, the vampire curse in general, what this does to a person. Bram Stoker's Dracula might be top 3 vampire films of all time for me. I fucking love what Francis Ford Coppola did for this. All right, Keanu Reeves miscasting being the only thing that damns this movie. This movie's a fucking fever dream. That's what it is. This brother wants to bang Mina because she reminds him of his wife. That's okay. I know. Listen, this is the Dracula archetype, but the way it's done here is amazing. Gary Oldman's performance is for the ages. Gary Oldman, by the way, is low-key one of the most goated actors in Hollywood ever. This guy's a chameleon. This guy played Dracula and Drexel Spivey in the same lifetime. Can you imagine that? And Commissioner Gordon. This emphasizes the love that a being like this can show, but also the manipulation, the darkness. Look how disgusting he can look. Look at this bat form of his. Look at this werewolf form of his that he can molest a woman with. Yeah, we're not just going horror now. We're entering all frontiers. Romance, horror, drama, whatever. But it's still as villainous as he could be because he's still of the devil in this. Kronos, again another tragic villain figure. A very different kind of vampire. A scarab that turns you into a parasite who really wants blood badly. This was an allegory, a metaphor for drug addiction. We're getting real here. We're getting real in the tragedy of this curse. Interview with a Vampire. Again, another top 3 vampire film of all time. Brad Pitt, a human-turned-vampire by Lestat. A man succumbing to the curse. Because once you're cursed as a vampire, you're cursed with immortality. And once you're cursed with immortality, human life no longer means what it was. You somehow become a monster. You somehow become someone who treats humans as slaves. If they die, who cares? Pick another one. Your humanity is eroding. That's what Tom Cruise represented. Everything that Brad Pitt's character didn't want to be. The monster, the devil at the end of this hollow road that is immortality. This is what you turn into when humans no longer mean a thing to you because you've lived so long. Humanity dying no longer has a consequence to you. And that's exactly what Brad Pitt didn't want. That's exactly what he didn't want to suffer through. Even when he found someone who could be a surrogate daughter for him. You still lose it in the course of time. Time was his main enemy. This movie emphasized so well, and I haven't seen the TV show, okay? But this movie emphasized so well the curse of immortality and the decay of morality. For fuck's sake, Tom Cruise act. This is one of my favorite Tom Cruise performances of all time. Besides Magnolia. It also plays on obsession. When you're a vampire that old, you look for people that can connect to you. And when you find them, you really, really want them. You were obsessively manipulating and controlling them. It plays with that idea too. The longingness, the neediness. Vampires have it too. But you still have the badass villainous vampire shit too, with John Carpenter's vampires. Alright, you still have that. But now we're getting into the anti-hero era. We got hunters now. We got half-breeds. We got people who are superheroes low-key. And we also have Romeo and Juliet stories with complex anti-heroes. I'm going to tell you what I mean by that. We got stuff like Vampire Hunter D, which came out, I think Bloodlust came out in 2000. So this is like the 2000s, the late 90s and the 2000s onwards. I fucking forgot to put Dusk Till Dawn here too. But Vampire Hunter D, a half-breed hunting vampires. Pretty awesome. Buffy the Vampire Slayer. I know there was a movie that came out, but the TV show. That's the main thing people talk about, right? Again, hunters and vampires. But also, we have the concept of a hunter who's trying to kill vampires falling for one. Now we have all this too. Now this was the start of the idea of adding vampires to teenage drama and romance, okay? This paved the way to allow that kind of storytelling to happen. But you know what? Buffy the Vampire Slayer is a classic story with classic vampires. Alright, Underworld. Selene, played by voluptuous Kate Beckinsale. She's a soldier of the vampires fighting against werewolves. This movie is like a gothic vampire gangster film. It plays out like one too. And guess what? It's a Romeo and Juliet story too. Forbidden love. Selene hates she's supposed to hate werewolves. She's ordered to kill them. That's what her whole destiny has been the entire time. They killed her family. Oh, but she falls for a hybrid. Look at that. But there's also a war between werewolves and vampires. Oh, you have leather outfits now and you're using guns Matrix style. See? Vampires are cool. They're hunters. They're lovers. They're not just villains and evil anymore. They can be heroes. Blade. Freaking Marvel superhero. Leather outfits. I'm throwing shurikens. I'm cutting people in half with swords. The whole shebang. And I'm also a half-breed. Again, there's an emphasis on making vampires really human in this. Some could say that's bad, but some could say, oh, this adds a new dimension to vampire films. They can be cool. They can be stylish. They can have action sequences now. It's not just about, oh, they can easily kill a human. No. You're in fights with werewolves now with guns. And then you have this serious dramatic era, which is the shortest era, mind you. late 2000s. I would say 2007, 2008, 2009, that type of shit. But we're emphasizing real human drama, allegory. Brutality, allegory, and dark human drama. That's what we're emphasizing here, right? 30 Days a Night. Humanity against the primal states of nature, which is represented by a bunch of bloodthirsty ancient vampires who are scary as fuck, by the way. Some of the scariest vampires you'll ever see. Let the Right One In. My opinion is a modern vampire masterpiece. In my opinion is in my top 3 vampire films of all time. Bram Stoker, Interview with a Vampire, and this, Let the Right One In. This allegory for the dangers and the fears of adulthood, the isolation of being a child, and then what growing up does to you. It deals with bullying, abuse, all that type of shit, manipulation. And by the way, if you haven't seen this movie and you're watching it, look out for the pool scene. Arguably, in my opinion, is one of the best sequences ever made in film. It got me so pumped up when I saw it. I don't want to spoil it for you, but this is not your typical vampire film. This is like more of a drama with some horror undertones to it than anything else. I fucking love it. Underworld 3. An action film, yes, but why am I adding here? Because this is also dark human drama. Not only is forbidden love in here, this is literally slavery. The werewolves are enslaved by vampires. This is racism. We're talking about racism, subjugation, colonization, if you want to say that too. War. 2 people who are not meant to be together. One of them births a child that the father considers an abomination and has her killed for. Come on now. This is serious. Daybreakers. Okay, now we're touching on consumer and corporate greed. Oh, the whole world's filled with vampires. Vampires rule the world, but they're also... Humans are dying off because of extinction, because of corporate greed, consumer greed. Everyone wants blood. It's like the water crisis, but it's the blood crisis. We need more blood, but the corporations want to sell it for more profits to the other vampires. We also have humans who are rebelling against the corporate overlords who are pumping them and farming them for blood. Oh, and if a vampire doesn't have blood, it turns into this creature and goes underground. Basically, they're like the homeless hobos of this movie. Scary as fuck, man. Willem Dafoe is a badass in this too, by the way. And we have the era of teddy bears. This is where the decadence happens, guys. This is where a couple people said, we need to do something new with vampires. Vampire cinema started to degrade at this point. Quantity of vampire films went down. So let's try to go into the young adult market. Monsters that sparkle. Ooh, evil is attractive. Teen drama, love triangle, sexual violence that's sexy. That's promoted. Redeeming the irredeemable. Unironically. Twilight. We had 5 movies of this shit? Torching vampire cinema. I don't need to go off on this. You already know Edward and Bella are cringe. Okay? This movie literally, I think Twilight literally jump-started, I'm pretty sure, the young adult genre of film, which I'm glad has ended now. But all these, Divergent, Maze Runner, Hunger Games, all these films, some of them I like, but it's all based on young adult romance. And cheesy and corny shit, man. Jacob falls in love with a baby. What the fuck are we doing, man? What happened to lichens and vampires at each other's throats with guns and swords? What are we doing here? I'm gonna imprint on this baby and chill with her until she's old enough for me to fuck. You belong in the Epstein files, Jacob, and so do your parents for allowing this shit. The fans still defend this somehow, by the way. This is how far we've gone in society, that we allowed this dog shit to be in a film and like it. Oh, but it's so romantic. He imprinted on her because he wanted to protect her. It wasn't sexual, but he still chilled with her till she was of age so he could fuck her. Epstein. Jacob Black is Jeffrey Epstein. Vampire Diaries, look how much shit this spawned. And granted, this was very popular. Vampire Diaries, originals. True Blood, I think, maybe it was before Vampire Diaries, I don't remember. But it spawned all this shit where the most badass vampires ever are also, cushy because they fall in love with a human girl who they should have no interest in realistically, but still, these thousands-year-old vampires, for fuck's sake. We have all this stuff now. And guys, vampires in this are sexual assaulters. They compel women to be their slaves and fuck them. This happens in the show. This happens in all these shows. No one talks about it. And it's not the shows do address that as bad, but they also redeem the characters in a very unrealistic way at the end. So I don't buy that these characters are good people at the end of the show. It never ever addresses how bad, how damaging this is. It's sexual assault. Listen, I'm a big fan of originals, and you know what? For what it is, I do appreciate Vampire Diaries. I love the first 3 seasons of originals before they torched that shit to an abyss, but still, guys, understand what's happened to vampires. As badass as Klaus is, I love Klaus, for God's sakes, I love him. You fucked the vampires into an abyss. The target audience changed. Young girls are who we're entertaining now. Fine, okay. There can be space for this kind of fan base, but at one point it just became that. Something happened. Nobody became interested in the other vampire films. Superheroes started coming into the fray. The MCU was born. Hollywood started prioritizing other shit, man, and it left no room for this. These kind of movies had less and less appeal. Gothic, dark vampires. Cool, badass vampire shit. No one cared about that anymore. Old, who cares? Marvel's the new thing now. Underworld, fuck off. Blade, come on, man. We got Black Panther coming in, bro. Blade, you ain't the only black superhero. We got, right? Vampire just went out the window. Things became too cushy, kiddie, and cheesy. We needed a resurgence, man. Now, you do have some gems. Blood Red Sky. I would say it's a good vampire film, right? Last Voyage of the Demeter. Another Dracula tale, but still. Nosferatu. Gothic horror. Done well. Sinners. But even in these movies, I still don't think we found the one that will resurge the genre to greatness. We haven't found that one vampire masterpiece. Nosferatu's close. And I know Robert Eggers is doing a werewolf film, but we haven't found that one. And I'm waiting for that day. It's coming. It's coming. I believe it is. Someone's got to make it. Maybe I'll make it. But still, guys, understand what happened to vampire cinema. As soon as you start experimenting with genres with the vampire, you start to get carried away and lose what made it so good. And this happens to everything in business. I understand. We need to have a resurgence now, okay? No more turning vampires into cuddly teddy bear little bitches. I don't want to see a vampire sparkle anymore. I want to see them murder people left and right. Alright? Bye. Ladies and gentlemen, we are on a mission to take over Hollywood. But the army must keep growing. If you want to suggest video topics to me, or talk about your favorite movies or favorite film theories in a community with like-minded individuals, join the Zafy Discord now. Link is in the description and the comment section as well. Join us. This movement is just beginning. We're taking over Hollywood, one coke line at a time.